maybe. Okay, there it goes. That. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the Other Books, number 12. Howdy, Matt. Howdy, GR. Today, we are continuing on in the book of Jasher with chapters 37, 38, and 39. If you want to listen to the book of Jasher, you can go to audio by LibriVox.org. Some people said they like the lady's voice. I don't know if that's the only voice that reads there, but maybe not. I don't think they have Alexander Scorby, though. Is everybody doing okay today? Okay, it's unanimous. Let's go ahead and pray in, and then we'll get rolling. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for giving us this time to study this awesome book that is mentioned in Scripture, and we just ask for your spirit of understanding, wisdom, discernment to be poured out on everybody that's here now and in the future, so that we can get all the information that you want us to have from these texts, these other books. We thank you for the healing that you have put on people, and we would also ask that you give your comforter to those that are facing challenges right now that they're not usually used to. And we do thank you for healings and other miracles that you have been providing for those various people. As we go out and serve you as your ambassadors, we would ask that you let the seeds you give us find fertile soil and softened hearts of people that are willing to humble themselves and seek you out. Thank you, Father. Bless you. In Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. All right, let's see here. So 37. Let me find this screen share thing is weird, the way they've been doing it. It's a little awkward. Hey, there we go. Okay, who was reading first? Whoever reading. Okay.
You ready?
Si, senor.
All right. Chapter 37. And in the 105th year of the life of Jacob, that is the 9th year of Jacob's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Pada Aram. And in those days Jacob journeyed with his children from Hebron, and they went and returned to the city of Shechem, they and all belonging to them, and they dwelt there. For the children of Jacob obtained good and fat pasture land for their cattle in the city of Shechem, the city of Shechem having then been rebuilt, and there were in about 300 men and women. And Jacob and his children and all their belonging, and all belonging to him, dwelt in that part of the field which Jacob had bought from Hamor, the father of Shechem, when he came from Pada Aram, before Simeon and Levi had smitten the city. And all the kings of the Canaanites and Amorites that surrounded the city of Shechem heard of the sons of Jacob, and had again come to Shechem and dwelt there. And they said, Shall the sons of Jacob, the Hebrew, again come to the city and dwell therein, after that they have smitten the inhabitants and driven them out? Shall they now return and also drive out those who are dwelling in the city, or slay them? And all the kings of Canaan again assembled, and they came together to make war with Jacob and his sons. And Jasher, king of Tapnah, sent also to his neighboring kings, to Elon, king of Gash, to Ihri, king of Shiloh, and to Pathon, king of Chazar, and to Susi, king of Sarton, and to Laban, king of Beth-Coran, and to Sheber, king of Othne-May, saying, Come up to me and assist me, and let us smite Jacob the Hebrew and his sons and all belonging to him. For they are again come to Shechem to possess it and to slay the inhabitants there as before. And all the kings assembled together and came with all their camps, a people exceedingly plentiful, like the sand upon the seashore. And they were all opposite of Tapnah. And Jasher, king of Tapnah, went forth to them with all his army, and he encamped with them opposite Tapnah without the city. And all the kings they divided into 7 divisions, being 7 camps against the sons of Jacob. And they sent the declaration to Jacob and his sons, saying, Come, you all forth to us, that we may have an interview together in plain, and revenge the cause of the men of Shechem, whom you slew in their city. And you will now again return to the city of Shechem and dwell therein, and slay its inhabitants as before. And the sons of Jacob heard this, and their anger was kindled exceedingly at the words of the kings of Canaan. And 10 of the sons of Jacob hastened and rose up, and each of them girt on his weapons of war. And there were 102 of their servants with them, equipped in battle array. And all these men, the sons of Jacob, with their servants, went towards these kings, and Jacob their father was with them. And they all stood upon the heap of Shechem. And Jacob prayed unto the Lord for his sons, and he spread forth his hands to the Lord, and he said, O God, thou art an almighty God, thou art our Father. Thou didst from us as we are the works of thine hands. I pray thee, deliver my sons through thy mercy from the hand of their enemies, who are on this day coming to fight with them, and save them from their hand. For in thy hand is power and might to save few from the many. And give unto my sons thy servants strength of heart and might to fight with their enemies, and subdue them, and make their enemies fall before them. And let not my sons and their servants die, though through the hands of the children of Canaan. But if it seemeth good in thine eyes to take away their lives of my sons and their servants, take them in thy great mercy through the hands of thy ministers, that they may not perish this day by the hands of the kings of the Amorites. And when Jacob ceased praying unto the Lord, the earth shook from its place, and the sun darkened, and all the kings were terrified, and a great consternation seized them. And the Lord hearkened unto the prayer of Jacob, and the Lord impressed the hearts of the kings and their hosts with the terror and the awe of the sons of Jacob. For the Lord caused them to hear the voice of chariots and the voice of mighty horses from the sons of Jacob, and the voice of a great army accompanying them. And these kings were seized with the great terror at the sons of Jacob. And whilst they were standing in their quarters, behold, the sons of Jacob advanced upon them with 112 men, with a great and tremendous shouting. And the kings saw the sons of Jacob advancing towards them, and they were still more panic struck, and they were inclined to retreat from before the sons of Jacob as at first, and not fight with them. But they did not retreat, saying, It would be a disgrace to us thus twice at a retreat from before the Hebrews. And the sons of Jacob came near and advanced against all the kings of their armies. And they saw, and behold, it was a very mighty people, numerous as the sand of the sea. And the sons of Jacob called unto the Lord and said, Help us, O Lord. Help and answer us, for we trust in thee. And let us not die in the hands of these uncircumcised men, who this day have come against us. And the sons of Jacob girt up their weapons of war, and they took it in their hands, each man a shield and his javelin, and they approached to battle. And Judah, the son of Jacob, ran first before his brethren, and 10 of his servants with him, and he went towards these kings. And Jasher, king of Tapnach, also came forth first with his army before Judah. And Judah saw Jasher and his army coming toward him. And Judah's wrath was kindled, and his anger burned within him. And he approached to battle, in which Judah ventured his life. And Jasher and all of his army were advancing towards Judah, and he was riding upon a very strong and powerful horse. And Jasher was a very valiant man, and covered with iron and brass from head to foot. And whilst he was upon the horse, he shot arrows with both hands before and behind, as was his manner in all of his battles. And he never missed the place to which he aimed his arrows. And when Jasher came to fight with Judah, he was darting many arrows against Judah. And the Lord bound the hand of Jasher, and all the arrows that he shot rebounded upon his own men. And notwithstanding this, Jasher kept advancing towards Judah to challenge him with the arrows. But the distance between them was about 30 cubits. And when Judah saw Jasher darting forth his arrows against him, he ran to him with his wrath excited might. And Judah took up a large stone from the ground, and its weight was 60 shekels. And Judah ran towards Jasher, and with the stone struck him on his shield. And Jasher was stunned with the blow, and he fell from his horse to the ground. And the shield burst asunder out of the hand of Jasher, and through the force of the blow sprang to the distance of about 15 cubits. And the shield fell before the second camp. And the kings that came with Jasher saw it at a distance, the strength of Judah, the son of Jacob, and what he had done to Jasher, and they were terribly afraid of Judah. And they assembled near Jasher's camp, seeing his confusion. And Judah drew his sword and smote 42 men of the camp of Jasher. And the whole of Jasher's camp fled before Judah, and no man stood against him. And they left Jasher and fled from him. And Jasher was still prostrate upon the ground. And Jasher, seeing all the men of his camp had fled from him, hastened and rose up with terror against Judah, and stood upon his legs opposite Judah. And Jasher had a single combat with Judah, placing shield towards shield. And Jasher's men all fled, for they were greatly afraid of Judah. And Jasher took his spear in his hand to strike Judah upon the head, but Judah had quickly placed his shield to his head against Jasher's spear, so that the shield of Judah received the blow from Jasher's spear, and the shield was split in two. And when Judah saw that his shield was split, he hastily drew his sword and smote Jasher at his ankles, and cut off his feet, that Jasher fell upon the ground, and the spear fell from his hand. And Judah hastily picked up Jasher's spear, with which he severed his head, and cast it to his feet. And when the sons of Jacob saw what Judah had done to Jasher, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings. And the sons of Jacob fought with the army of Jasher and the armies of all the kings that were there. And the sons of Jacob caused 15,000 of their men to fall, and they smote them as if smiting at gourds, and the rest fled for their lives. And Judah was still standing by the body of Jasher, and stripped Jasher of his coat mail. And Judah also took off the iron and brass that was about Jasher. And behold, 9 men of the captains of Jasher came along to fight against Judah. And Judah hastened and took up a stone from the ground, and with it smote one of them upon the head, and his skull was fractured. And the body also fell from the horse to the ground. And the 8 captains that remained, seeing the strength of Judah, were greatly afraid and fled. And Judah with his 10 men pursued them, and they overtook them and slew them. And the sons of Jacob were still smiting the armies of the kings, and they slew many of them. But the kings daringly kept their stand with their captains, and did not retreat from their places. And they exclaimed against those that their armies that fled before the sons of Jacob, but none would listen to them, for they were afraid of their lives, lest they should die. And all the sons of Jacob, after having smitten the armies of the kings, returned and came before Judah. And Judah was still slaying the 8 captains of Jasher, and stripping off their garments. And Levi saw Elon, king of Gash, advancing towards him, and with 14 captains to smite him. But Levi did not know it for certain. And Elon with his captains approached nearer. And Levi looked back and saw that battle was given him in the rear. And Levi ran with 12 of his servants, and they went and slew Elon and his captains with the edge of the sword.
Chapter 38. And Ahuri, king of Shiloh, came up to assist Elon, and he approached Jacob, when Jacob drew his bow that was in his hand, and with an arrow struck Ehuri, which caused his death. And when Ehuri, king of Shiloh, was dead, the 4 remaining kings fled from their station with the rest of the captains, and they endeavored to retreat, saying, "We have no more strength with the Hebrews after their having killed the 3 kings and their captains who were more powerful than we are." And when the sons of Jacob saw that the remaining kings had removed from their station, they pursued them. And Jacob also came from the heap of Shechem, from the place where he was standing. And they went after the kings, and they approached them with their servants. And the kings and the captains with the rest of their armies, seeing that the sons of Jacob approached them, were afraid of their lives, and fled till they reached the city of Chazar. And the sons of Jacob pursued them to the gate of the city of Chazar, and they smote a great smiting amongst the kings and their armies, about 4,000 men. And whilst they were smiting the army of the kings, Jacob was occupied with his bow, confining himself to smiting the kings, and he slew them all. And he slew Parathon, king of Chazar, at the gate of the city of Chazar, and he afterwards smote Sushi, king of Sarton, and Laban, king of Bethgoren, and Shabir, king of Machnema. And he slew them all with arrows, an arrow to each of them, and they died. And the sons of Jacob, seeing that all the kings were dead, and that they were broken up and retreating, continued to carry on the battle with the armies of the kings opposite the gate of Chazar. And they still smote about 400 of their men. And 3 men of the servants of Jacob fell in that battle. And when Judah saw that 3 of his servants had died, it grieved him greatly, and his anger burned within him against the Amorites. And all the men that remained of the armies of the kings were greatly afraid of their lives, and they ran and broke the gate of the walls of the city of Chazar, and they all entered the city for safety. And they concealed themselves in the midst of the city of Chazar, for the city of Chazar was very large and extensive. And when all these armies had entered the city, the sons of Jacob ran after them into the city. And 4 mighty men, experienced in battle, went forth from the city and stood against the entrance of the city, with drawn swords and spears in their hands, and they placed themselves opposite the sons of Jacob, and would not suffer them to enter the city. And Naphtali ran and came between them, and with his sword smote 2 of them, and cut off their heads at one stroke. And he turned to the other 2, and behold, they had fled, and he pursued them, overtook them, smote them, and slew them. And the sons of Jacob came to the city and saw, and behold, there was another wall to the city. And they sought for the gate of the wall and could not find it. And Judah sprang up upon the top of the wall, and Simeon and Levi followed him. And they all 3 descended from the wall into the city. And Simeon and Levi slew all the men who ran for safety into the city, and also the inhabitants of the city with their wives and little ones. They slew with the edge of the sword, and the cries of the city ascended up to heaven. And Dan and Naphtali sprang upon the wall to see what caused the noise of lamentation, for the sons of Jacob felt anxious about their brothers. And they heard the inhabitants of the city speaking with weeping and supplication, saying, "Take all that we possess in the city and go away, only do not put us to death." And when Judah, Simeon, and Levi had ceased smiting the inhabitants of the city, they ascended the wall and called to Dan and Naphtali, who were upon the wall, and to the rest of their brothers. And Simeon and Levi informed them of the entrance into the city, and all the sons of Jacob came to fetch the spoil. And the sons of Jacob took the spoil of the city of Chazar, the flocks and herds and the property, and they took all that could be captured, and went away that day from the city. And on the next day the sons of Jacob went to Sarton, for they heard that the men of Sarton had remained in the city, were assembling to fight with them for having slain their king. And Sarton was a very high and fortified city, and it had a deep rampart surrounding the city. And the pillar of the rampart was about 50 cubits, and its breadth 40 cubits, and there was no place for a man to enter the city on account of the rampart. And the sons of Jacob saw the rampart of the city, and they sought an entrance in it, but could not find it. For the entrance to the city was at the rear, and every man that wished to come into the city came by that road, and went around the whole city, and he afterwards entered the city. And the sons of Jacob, seeing they could not find the way into the city, their anger was kindled greatly. And the inhabitants of the city, seeing that the sons of Jacob were coming to them, were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Gazar. And the inhabitants of the city of Sarton could not go out toward the sons of Jacob after having assembled in the city to fight against them, lest they might thereby get into the city. But when they saw that they were coming toward them, they were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Gazar. So the inhabitants of Sarton speedily took away the bridge of the road of the city from its place before the sons of Jacob came, and they brought it into the city. And the sons of Jacob came and sought the way into the city, and could not find it. And the inhabitants of the city went up to the top of the wall, and saw, and behold, the sons of Jacob were seeking an entrance into the city. And the inhabitants of this city reproached the sons of Jacob from the top of the wall, and they cursed them. And the sons of Jacob heard the reproaches, and they were greatly incensed, and their anger burned within them. And the sons of Jacob were provoked at them, and they all rose and sprang over the rampart with the force of their strength, and through their might passed the 40 cubits breadth of the rampart. And when they had passed the rampart, they stood under the wall of the city, and they found all the gates of the city enclosed with iron doors. And the sons of Jacob came near to break open the doors of the gates of the city, and the inhabitants did not let them, for from the top of the wall they were casting stones and arrows upon them. And the number of the people that were upon the wall was about 400 men. And when the sons of Jacob saw that the men of the city would not let them open the gates of the city, they sprang and ascended the top of the wall. And Judah went up first to the east part of the city. And Gad and Asher went up after him to the west corner of the city, and Simeon and Levi to the north, and Dan and Reuben to the south. And the men who were on the top of the wall, the inhabitants of the city, seeing that the sons of Jacob were coming up to them, they all fled from the wall, descended into the city, and concealed themselves in the midst of the city. And Issachar and Naphtali that remained under the wall approached and broke the gates of the city, and kindled a fire at the gates of the city, that the iron melted. And all the sons of Jacob came into the city, they and all their men, and they fought with the inhabitants of the city of Sarton, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and no man stood up before them. And about 200 men fled from the city, and they all went and hid themselves in a certain tower in the city. And Judah pursued them to the tower, and he broke down the tower, which fell upon the men, and they all died. And the sons of Jacob went up the road of the roof of that tower, and they saw, and behold, there was another strong and high tower at a distance in the city, and the top of it reached to heaven. And the sons of Jacob hastened and descended, and went with all their men to that tower, and found it filled with about 300 men, women, and little ones. And the sons of Jacob smote a great smiting amongst those men in the tower, and they ran away and fled from them. And Simeon and Levi pursued them, when 12 mighty and valiant men came out to them from the place where they had concealed themselves. And those 12 men maintained a strong battle against Simeon and Levi, and Simeon and Levi could not prevail over them. And those valiant men broke the shields of Simeon and Levi, and one of them struck at Levi's head with his sword. When Levi hastily placed his hand to his head, for he was afraid of the sword, And the sword struck Levi's hand, and it wanted but little to the hand of Levi being cut off. And Levi seized the sword of the valiant man in his hand and took it forcibly from the man. And with it he struck at the head of the powerful man, and he severed his head. And 11 men approached to fight with Levi, for they saw that one of them was killed. And the sons of Jacob fought, but the sons of Jacob could not prevail over them, for those men were very powerful. And the sons of Jacob, seeing that they could not prevail over them, Simeon gave a loud and tremendous shriek, and the 11 powerful men were stunned at the voice of Simeon's shrieking. And Judah at a distance knew the voice of Simeon's shouting, and Naphtali and Judah ran with their shields to Simeon and Levi, and found them fighting with those powerful men, unable to prevail over them as their shields were broken. And Naphtali saw that the shields of Simeon and Levi were broken, and he took 2 shields from his servants and brought them to Simeon and Levi. And Simeon, Levi, and Judah on that day fought all 3 against the 11 mighty men until the time of sunset, but they could not prevail over them. And this was told unto Jacob, and he was sorely grieved, and he prayed unto the Lord, and he and Naphtali his son went against these mighty men. And Jacob approached and drew his bow, and came nigh unto the mighty men, and slew 3 of their men with the bow. And the remaining 8 turned back, and behold, the war waged against them in the front and rear. And they were greatly afraid of their lives, and could not stand before the sons of Jacob, and they fled from before them. And in their flight they met Dan and Asher coming toward them, and they suddenly fell upon them, and fought with them, and slew 2 of them. And Judah and his brothers pursued them, and smote the remainder of them, and slew them. And all the sons of Jacob returned and walked about the city, searching if they could find any man, and they found about 20 young men in a cave in the city. And Gad and Asher smote them all, and Dan and Naphtali lighted upon the rest of the men who had fled and escaped from the second tower, and they smote them all. And the sons of Jacob smote all the inhabitants of the city of Sarton, but the women and little ones they left in the city, and did not slay them. And all the inhabitants of the city of Sarton were powerful men. 1 of them would pursue 1,000, and 2 of them would not flee from 10,000 of the rest of men. And the sons of Jacob slew all the inhabitants of the city of Sarton with the edge of the sword, that no man stood up against them, and they left the women in the city. And the sons of Jacob took all the spoil of the city, and captured what they desired. And they took flocks and herds and property from the city. And the sons of Jacob did unto Sarton and its inhabitants as they had done to Khazar and its inhabitants. And they turned and went away.
Jasher chapter 39. And when the sons of Jacob went from the city of Sarton, they had gone about 200 cubits when they met the inhabitants of Tapnach coming toward them. For they went out to fight with them, because they had smitten the king of Tapnach and all his men. So all that remained in the city of Tapnach came out to fight with the sons of Jacob. And they thought to retake from them the booty and the spoil which they had captured from Hazar and Sartan. And the rest of the men of Tapnach fought with the sons of Jacob in that place. And the sons of Jacob smote them, and they fled before them. And they pursued them to the city of Arbalon, and they fell before the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob returned and came to Tapnach to take away the spoil of Tapnach. And when they came to Tapnach, they heard that the people of Arbalon had gone out to meet them to save the spoil of their brethren. And the sons of Jacob left 10 of their men in Tapnach to plunder the city. And they went out toward the people of Arbalon. And the men of Arbalon went out with their wives to fight with the sons of Jacob, for their wives were experienced in battle. And they went out about 400 men and women. And all the sons of Jacob shouted with a loud voice, and they all ran toward the inhabitants of Arbalon, and with a great and tremendous voice. And the inhabitants of Arbalon heard the noise of the shouting of the sons of Jacob, and their roaring like the noise of lions, and the like of the roaring of the sea and its waves. And the fear and terror possessed their hearts on account of the sons of Jacob, and they were terribly afraid of them. And they retreated and fled before them into the city, and the sons of Jacob pursued them to the gate of the city, and they came upon them in the city. And the sons of Jacob fought with them in the city, and all their women were engaged in slinging against the sons of Jacob. And the combat was very severe amongst them the whole of the day till evening. And the sons of Jacob could not prevail over them, and the sons of Jacob had almost perished in that battle. And the sons of Jacob cried unto the Lord, and greatly gained strength toward evening. And the sons of Jacob smote all the inhabitants of Arbelon by the edge of the sword, men, women, and little ones. And also the remainder of the people who had fled from Sarton, the sons of Jacob smote them in Arbelon. And the sons of Jacob did unto Arbelon and Tapnach as they had done to Chazar and Sarton. And when the women saw that all the men were dead, they went upon the roofs of the city and smote the sons of Jacob by showering down stones like rain. And the sons of Jacob hastened and came into the city and seized all the women and smote them with the edge of the sword. And the sons of Jacob captured all the spoil and booty and flocks and herds and cattle. And the sons of Jacob did unto Machnema as they had done to Tapnach, Chazar, and Shiloh. And they turned from there and went away. And on the 5th day, the sons of Jacob heard that the people of Gaash had gathered against them to battle, because they had slain their king and their captains. For there had been 14 captains in the city of Gaash, and the sons of Jacob had slain them all in the first battle. And the sons of Jacob that day girt on their weapons of war, and they marched to battle against the inhabitants of Gaash. In Gaash there was a strong and mighty people of the Amorites. And Gaash was the strongest and best fortified city in all the cities of the Amorites, and it had 3 walls. And the sons of Jacob came to Gaash. They found the gates of the city locked, and about 500 men standing at the top of the outermost wall, and a people numerous as the sand upon the seashore were in ambush for the sons of Jacob from without the city at the rear thereof. And the sons of Jacob approached to open the gates of the city, and whilst they were drawing nigh, behold, those who were in ambush at the rear of the city came forth from their places and surrounded the sons of Jacob. When the sons of Jacob were enclosed between the people of Gaash, and the battle was both to their front and rear, and all the men that were upon the wall were casting from upon them arrows and stones. And Judah, seeing that the men of Gaash were getting too heavy for them, gave a most piercing and tremendous shriek. And all the men of Gaash were terrified at the voice of Judah's cry. And men fell from the wall at his powerful shriek. And all those that were from without and within the city were greatly afraid of their lives. And the sons of Jacob still came nigh to break the doors of the city, when the man of Gaash threw stones and arrows from upon them from the top of the wall, and made them flee from the gate. And the sons of Jacob returned against the men of Gaash, who were with them from without the city, and they smote them terribly, as striking against gourds. And they could not stand against the sons of Jacob, for fright and terror had seized them at the shriek of Judah. And the sons of Jacob slew all those men who were without the city. And the sons of Jacob still drew nigh to effect an entrance into the city, and to fight under the city walls, but they could not, for the inhabitants of Gaash, who remained in the city, had surrounded the walls of Gaash in every direction, so that the sons of Jacob were unable to approach the city to fight with them. And the sons of Jacob came nigh to one corner to fight under the wall. And the inhabitants of Gaash threw arrows and stones upon them like showers of rain, and they fled from under the wall. And the people of Gaash who were upon the wall, seeing that the sons of Jacob could not prevail over them from under the wall, reproached the sons of Jacob in these words, saying, What is the matter with you in the battle that you cannot prevail? Can you then do unto the mighty city of Gaash and its inhabitants as you did to the cities of the Amorites that were not so powerful? Surely to those weak ones among us, You did those things and slew them in the entrance of the city, for they had no strength when they were terrified at the sound of your shouting. And will you now then be able to fight in this place? Surely here you will all die, and we will avenge the cause of those cities that you have laid waste. And the inhabitants of Gaash greatly reproached the sons of Jacob and reviled them with their gods, and continued to cast arrows and stones upon them from the wall. And Judah and his brothers heard the words of the inhabitants of Gaash, and their anger was greatly roused. And Judah was jealous of his God in this manner. And he called out and said, O Lord, help, send help to us and our brothers. And he ran at a distance with all his might, with his sword in his drawn sword in his hand. And he sprang from the earth by dint of his strength, mounted the wall, and his sword fell from his hand. And Judah shouted upon the wall, and all the men that were upon the wall were terrified. And some of them fell from the wall into the city and died. And those that were yet upon the wall, when they saw Judah's strength, they were greatly afraid and fled for their lives into the city for safety. And some were emboldened to fight with Judah upon the wall. And they came nigh to slay him when they saw there was no sword in Judah's hand. And they thought of casting him from the wall to his brothers. And 20 men of the city came up to assist them. And they surrounded Judah, and they all shouted over him, and approached him with drawn swords. And they terrified Judah. And Judah cried out to his brothers from the wall. And Jacob and his sons drew the bow from under the wall, and smote 3 of the men that were up upon the top of the wall. And Judah continued to cry and exclaimed, O Lord, help us, O Lord, deliver us. And he cried out with a loud voice upon the wall, and the cry was heard at a great distance. And after this cry, he again repeated to shout, and all the men who surrounded Judah on the top of the wall were terrified. And they each threw his sword from his hand at the sound of Judah's shouting and his tremor, and fled. And Judah took the swords which had fallen from their hands, and Judah fought with them and slew 20 of their men upon the wall. And about 80 men and women still ascended the wall from the city, and they all surrounded Judah. And the Lord impressed the fear of Judah in their hearts, that they were unable to approach him. And Jacob and all who were with him drew the bow from under the wall, and they slew 10 men upon the wall, and they fell below the wall before Jacob and his sons. And the people upon the wall, seeing that 20 of their men had fallen, they still ran towards Judah with drawn swords, but they could not approach him, for they were greatly terrified at Judah's strengths. And one of their mighty men, whose name was Arud, approached to strike Judah upon the head with his sword, when Judah hastily put his shield to his head, and the sword hit the shield, and it was split in two. And this mighty man, after he had struck Judah, ran for his life at the fear of Judah, and his feet slipped upon the wall, and he fell amongst the sons of Jacob who were below the wall. And the sons of Jacob smote him and slew him. And Judah's head pained him from the blow of the powerful man, and Judah had nearly died from it. And Judah cried out upon the wall, owing to the pain produced by the blow. And when Dan heard him, and his anger burned within him, and he also rose up and went at a distance, and ran and sprang from the earth, and mounted the wall with his wrath-excited strength. And when Dan came upon the wall near unto Judah, all the men upon the wall fled, who had stood against Judah, and they went up to the second wall. And they threw arrows and stones upon Dan and Judah from the second wall, and endeavored to drive them from the wall. And the arrows and stones struck Dan and Judah, and they had nearly been killed upon the wall. And wherever Dan and Judah fled from the wall, they were attacked with arrows and stones from the second wall. And Jacob and his sons were still at the entrance of the city below the first wall, and they were not able to draw their bow against the inhabitants of the city, as they could not be seen by them, being upon the second wall. And Dan and Judah, when they could no longer bear the stones and arrows that fell upon them from the second wall, they both sprang upon the second wall near the people of the city. And when the people of the city who were upon the second wall saw that Dan and Judah had come to them upon the second wall. They all cried out and descended below between the walls. And Jacob and his sons heard the noise of the shouting of the people in the city, and they were still at the entrance of the city, and they were anxious about Dan and Judah, who were not seen by them, they being upon the second wall. And Naphtali went up with his wrath excited might and sprang upon the first wall to see what caused the noise of the shouting, which they had heard in the city. And Issachar and Zebulun drew nigh to break the doors of the city, and they opened the gates of the city and came into the city. And Naphtali leaped from the first wall to the second, and came to assist his brothers, the inhabitants of Gaash, who were upon the wall. Seeing that Naphtali was the third who had come up to assist his brothers, they all fled and descended into the city. And Jacob and all his sons and all their young men came into the city. And Judah and Dan and Naphtali descended from the wall into the city and pursued the inhabitants of the city. And Simeon and Levi were from without the city and knew not that the gate was opened. And they went up from there to the wall and came down to their brothers in the city. And the inhabitants of the city had all descended into the city, and the sons of Jacob came to them in different directions. And the battle waged against them from the front and the rear, and the sons of Jacob smote them terribly, and slew about 20,000 of them, men and women. Not one of them could stand up against the sons of Jacob. And the blood flowed plentifully in the city, and it was like a brook of water. And the blood flowed like a brook to the outer part of the city and reached the desert of Beth-horon. And the people of Beth-horon saw at a distance blood flowing from the city of Gaash. And about 70 men from amongst them ran to see the blood, and they came to the place where the blood was. And they followed the track of blood to the wall of the city of Gaash. And they saw the blood issue from the city. And they heard the voice crying from inhabitants of Gaash, for it ascended unto heaven. And the blood was continuing to flow abundantly like a brook of water. And then all the sons of Jacob were still smiting the inhabitants of Gaash, and were enraged in slaying them till evening, about 20,000 men and women. And the people of Corinth said, surely this is the work of the Hebrews, for they are still carrying on war in all the cities of the Amorites. And those people hastened and ran to Beth-horon, and each took his weapons of war, and they cried out to all the inhabitants of Beth-horon, who also girt on their weapons of war, to go and fight with the sons of Jacob. And when the sons of Jacob had done smiting the inhabitants of Gaash, they walked into the city to strip all the slain, and coming in the innermost part of the city and further on, they met 3 very powerful men, and there was no sword in their hand. And the sons of Jacob came up to the place where they were, and the powerful men ran away. And one of them had taken Zebulun, who he saw was a young lad of short stature, and with his might dashed him to the ground. And Jacob ran to him with his sword, and Jacob smote him below his loins with the sword and cut him in 2. And the body fell upon Zebulun. And the second one approached and seized Jacob to fell him to the ground. And Jacob turned to him and shouted to him, whilst Simeon and Levi ran and smote him on the hips with the sword, and he fell to the ground. And the powerful man rose up from the ground with wrath-excited might, and Judah came to him before he had gained his footing, and struck him upon the head with the sword, and his head was split, and he died. And the third powerful man, seeing that his companions were killed, ran from before the sons of Jacob, and the sons of Jacob pursued him in the city. And whilst the powerful man was fleeing, he found one of the swords of the inhabitants of the city, and he picked it up and turned to the sons of Jacob and fought them with that sword. And the powerful man ran to Judah to strike him upon the head with the sword. And there was no shield in the hand of Judah. And whilst he was aiming to strike him, Naphtali hastily took his shield and put it to Judah's head. And the sword of the powerful man hit the shield of Naphtali, and Judah escaped the sword. And Simeon and Levi ran upon the powerful man with their swords, and struck at him forcibly with their swords. And the 2 swords entered the body of the powerful man, and divided it into lengthwise. And the sons of Jacob smote the 3 mighty men at that time, together with all the inhabitants of Gash, and the day was about to decline. And the sons of Jacob walked about Gash and took all the spoil of the city, even the little ones and women they did not suffer to live. And the sons of Jacob did unto Gash as they had done to Sarton and Shiloh.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot of slaughtering. So, what did you get from this?
All out war.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be.
Something that I kind of pick up on is, when there's talking about all these battles that are going on,
Mhm.
okay, there is some references in the testaments of the 12 patriarchs that kind of tie in with this.
Pertaining to the battles themselves,
Yeah,
or
things
how they
that things that
conducted
they
the
did.
battle?
Yeah, things that they did.
Interesting. We may have to get into those later.
Oh, there's a good.
That
You know what? Okay, when I first read through Jasher years ago, I'm sitting there thinking, if the young men in our churches read this, I mean, who
They'd be on
needs
fire.
superheroes?
Mm-hmm. That's what it reminds me of. Like shouting, superpower.
You know what that reminded me of? All the shouting and shrieking. That, if you've seen any of the documentaries on the Civil War, the United States Civil War, that talking about the rebel yell, how it would go from one end of the Confederate line to the other, and then till the whole thing rose up. And they read on one of these documentaries, they read from the diary of a Union soldier who was trying to describe this rebel yell, and he's like, anyone that says that doesn't scare them with a fearful fright is a GD liar. And so picture that. I mean, and also too, it's saying Jacob, Naphtali, Judah, but remember they had 100, I think it said 109 in one spot and 112 in another spot of their servants that came with them. So I'm picturing, it's like when it says King David beat the Philistines, right? Well, no, it wasn't King David by himself out there swinging a sword. So they have these servants with them that are fighting along their sides as well. So I'm thinking when it says, and Judah went upon the wall, I'm seeing him and his servants kind of doing the, loop your hands, step here, climb up my shoulders, like we see with modern Marines and soldiers. That's how I'm picturing it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing about the great and tremendous shouting, think about all those ones that marched around Jericho and then shouted, okay? You've got the descendants of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the power that did.
Yeah, shouting some weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's intimidating. It can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Change the subject here, but there is something that just dawned on me when we're reading this. They're in Canaan, right?
Yep.
What wasn't
And
this the land that was loaded with giants? Are these people giants?
I don't know. Wouldn't it mention it though if they were?
You would think.
But then they came to, was it Gash, that where the men and women fought equally?
And what's this thing of cutting off the feet? Sounds to me like maybe
Maybe they were tall.
very, yeah, or around the hip. Okay, I'm just saying,
Just speculating. Right.
speculating. Yeah,
Doing that nice baseball swing with their sword.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm sure you guys have seen the, like some of the ceremonies they have in Asia and Africa, where it's a ceremonial thing. If they can cut all the way through an ox's neck for whatever the ceremony is, it means it'll be a prosperous new year, sort of thing.
What, the swipe?
Yeah, with one swipe. Yep. And, large, sharp knives can be impressive.
I feel like knife war would have been swords and spears would have been way more brutal than today.
Highly
Maybe
personal.
not a bomb, but
Nah. Well, even today, because teaching the concealed carry classes and other use of force stuff, that in people, you always hear the term "don't bring a knife to a gunfight," but somewhere in the neighborhood of like 83 to 85% of all gunshot victims survive, and somewhere around 60 to 62% of all knife stabbing victims die.
mm-hmm.
So there's a disconnect between the thinking on that. Knives are not something to be taken lightly, especially if you're close enough for somebody to be using them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of that too, right? And this is a fairly big detour, but people that are relying on the firearm, let's take a professional that's relying on the firearm. Generally, they have to qualify with that firearm twice a year. And unless they're an enthusiast in the skill, that's the only time they ever practice. Everybody uses knives every day, right? So there's some semblance, even if it's not used for combat, they know how to use a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
You also got to be a lot closer to use a knife than you do a gun.
It's much more intimate.
That's a nice way to put it. It's okay to laugh, Matt.
I feel like people would think less about shooting someone than knifing them. It's like pretty brutal. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah. And then the other one, it says they cut him in half lengthwise. Which I'll talk to you guys about that after this. But anyways, it was brutal. And it's funny because when it said the city had 3 walls, first thing I pictured was a triangle.
Yeah.
Right. But I realize it's, 1 wall.
Yeah.
2 walls, 3 walls. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm picturing labyrinth around it, maze,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they could not find their way in. And from what I understand of what they're coming up with is some of the archaeological finds, is that some of these cities, like Jericho and things like that, basically kind of had a labyrinth style.
To get in.
Yes.
For entrance. Yep. No, I just saw something too on. Oh, they said, all the naysayers, all the deniers say, David didn't exist. And I think it was on the city of Ikish, maybe, or something like that. Ikaf, I don't know. But they found this huge city, like 40,000 residents, that was just as described in Scripture. And of course, now the people are saying, "Oh, well, that's only in Scripture." First they said, David didn't exist because there was no historical evidence. Now that they have the evidence, they're saying, "Oh, well, the writers, heard about this ancient city, so they just wrote something about it."
Mm.
It's like, okay, whatever.
I think old cities were probably pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, yep.
Probably a lot nicer than what we have today, to be honest. I have a feeling like the stonework and stuff was,
it's still a city though.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Icky grossness. Yeah. So what else? Anything else jumping out at you on it?
It's funny. This is like my favorite story in Jasher, and just stuff to read, and the fighting. Yeah.
Well, the blood flowing out. That's it's
a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood.
Flowing.
Isn't it there's supposed to be even more so when it's referenced to the bridle high or something on a horse?
Right. Yep. And that. Well, what is it makes a reference to the other cities, the inhabitants of the other city, about 200 cubits. That's not real far, right? That's if a cubit is 1.5 feet. Okay, so that's 350 feet. So basically, it would be like modern apartment building complex or something, is what I'm thinking. They're calling a city. Because some of these apartment complexes hold what? 3,000 people in the cities?
Huge ones.
Suburbs.
The what?
All mash up against each other.
Yep. Why are they called apartments if they're so close together? What are they barking at? Geese?
I think the turkeys. I had to let all the chickens and stuff out the other day. So they're just roaming. They're like, "Get out of my yard." I think.
So this, if I recall correctly, this is kind of setting a precedent for much of the rest of the book of Jasher, where the sons of Jacob go.
We should read the 12 Patriarchs. I like those books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good. It's like love letters to their children when they're dying.
Oh, wow.
And they admit their faults.
I'm sorry?
They admit their faults and things that they did that they wish they had not, and trying to give good advice of what to avoid and to live righteously. He disappeared.
It's just like, I'm out.
The dog's making "I don't feel well" sounds. Nobody wants to record that. Anyways, well, anything else jumping out at you for Jasher 37, 38, 39?
No.
interesting. It's likening the stones and arrows coming off the walls to rain. They're hucking a lot of rocks and arrows.
I bet.
Oh, is that kind of what it's going to be like when the hail and firestones come down?
Yeah, each one weighs a talent, which is what, about 180 pounds?
Yeah.
That's compared to that, humans are rather squishable.
Yeah, 180-pound rock.
I mean, I don't know if you've had anything heavy land on your head before, but definitely makes your head and your neck uncomfortable.
Well, my frozen pumpkin bricks hurt Bob's head when he opened up the freezer. He got pelted pretty good.
Oh dear. Yep, I've had similar things happen. I pulled a brick onto my head once. That it was holding a moving quilt up, which I didn't realize. I thought those were nailed in place. So I pulled the quilt. The brick came down, split. And that was only a few feet.
Yeah, the ones that hit Bob didn't come from very far either. They just slid out when he opened the door.
Right. Did he start speaking French?
No, but it had me worried. Okay, and I'm going because I hear him hit and his stuff, and I kind of heard him wince. I go, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I just got pelted on the head with about 5 or 6 pumpkin bricks."
Oh no! I thought it was just one.
No. He laughed about it. Okay, later. He goes, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" And I go, No.
Okay. Well, anyways, everybody, don't forget to post your observations. Thank you for reading, Matt. Thank you for reading, GR. And that, don't forget, if you want to look at Jasher as well as other of the other books, you can go to sacred-texts.com and take a look at those there. Other than that, I don't have anything else other than like, share, subscribe. And, well, we'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.